Hello everyone. Getting set up a little bit here still. Hope y'all are well. Make sure this is all good so y'all can really see. Okay. I hope everybody's doing well. I hope y'all had wonderful weekends, wonderful weeks. Getting prepared for this weekend coming up. I don't know if I am. I'm just kind of living today. I was trying to put on some music, but I don't know how that's going to really work out. But I hope y'all are doing well. Let me type this in here. Okay, let's see. We're still going on with the conversation about cutting the dead ends. And we're going to get more specific into the dead ends today. Well, at least one in particular, because it's on my heart and it's one that I'm dealing with. So we're going to talk about it. And I hope y'all are, on this journey with me, and hopefully looking into your dead ends, paying attention to the dead ends that are coming up for you and getting into it. So, hi, Pastor Nick. So today we're going to go into talking about, last week we spoke about avoidance. And I think that's a really big thing. And hopefully we all kind of sat down with that and really looked at some things that maybe we were avoiding or allowed things to come up and actually address those things. Today, I wanted to talk about the stuck place, if you will. And inside of the stuck place, how do you say this? The captivating fear. Hi, Mom. The paralyzing, that's the better way to say it. The paralyzing fear and just not doing anything when you're in a dead end, and how that can be detrimental to you in getting out of your dead end. So we're going to get into that a little bit today. Feel free to jump in with your comments and add to this. Y'all know how I do it. So it's a us thing. So I'm going to pray and we're going to get started and have this conversation. So God, I thank you for this day. I thank you that you welcomed us into this day. And I pray that we were all productive today. I'm asking that as we go forth in this conversation, Holy Spirit, that you speak through me. You use this platform as your platform to move and speak and connect with people however you see fit. I am your vessel. I died to myself in this moment so that way you may be able to use me to be able to speak through to your people. I pray that these words reach people who have never been in contact with you before or had an experience with you before, or even me. I pray that this reaches the depths of someone's soul who has really been crying out and praying and asking for something and answers to something, or just maybe even wanting to know that they're not alone. So I'm asking that our words today be answers to prayers all across the world. And as people watch this live with us now and join us live as well as the rebroadcast, that you set an atmosphere of you. Let us be in your presence and in your essence, so that way anyone who's coming to the table can get what they need, as only you can do that. I thank you and praise you. And in Jesus' name, we're getting started. So, y'all, all right, so we're talking about the dead ends, and I like to talk about things from a place of where I know that I am, and so that way, because I can't talk to you about something that I've never really been through or am going through, and so this is a place that I found myself in throughout the years of my life, but it has come to a for real, heavy space right in front of my face this past, I don't know, we're in August, these past 8 months. And so it's when you are, when you found yourself making the moves that you need to make, or doing whatever it is that you need to do. But life has happened in whatever way and you find yourself in a place where you are in this paralyzed state, whether it be through fear, or you just are stuck and it kind of feels like quicksand. Every move that you make feels like you're being sucked back in. And so you're too tired to even do anything different. So you just kind of stay there. And so I wanted to talk about that because that is a dead end. It's coming up, at least in my experience. The reason that you need to deal with it, you need to learn how to deal. We have to learn how to deal with those spaces that are so heavy and paralyzing that that we don't know what to do, but we have to deal with them. What do you do when you're in those places? And that is, to me, that is a for sure dead end. And one thing that I am finding myself in now that has really, really helped me is I'm listening to motivating audios of people reminding me that my life I'm here for a reason, for sure. And every dream and every goal that I have is important. It's still important and it's not too late. And that I can do it. And everybody finds themselves in this place of where it feels really, really hard and you don't know what to do. And things have been stripped from you. You don't know which way to go, how to turn, what to say, anything like that. Everyone has been there, but it's your job to just continue to do the work. And even though you don't feel like it. For me, I found myself just really in a place where I was like, this is really hard. Like emotionally, it was really hard. And I'm not really sure why. I can't really put my finger on anything specific, but it just was really hard. And I didn't really know what to do. And all I wanted to do was to just watch TV or, I don't know, even if I'm out, go on walks or just do nothing. Anything that required me to do nothing that felt like even thinking. But what I was doing, what I'm building, does not allow the space for that. So I had to continue to move. And so what I'm finding in this space, first in that space, because that I think was the worst part, was because I had already set a lot of things in motion, I had no choice but to move forward in what I had already done. Now that I'm further away from that initial, I guess if you want to call it the epicenter, like I said, it's been listening to about 10-minute audios of just, encouraging words, motivating words, but then also kind of some words that are more so, and these are the words that I gravitate to, explaining kind of like why when you go through tough times, sometimes why those things are happening. So one thing that I got from an audio was talking about a eagle and little baby eaglets, and how the eagle will, she will go and get food for the babies, and she comes back and she feeds them, and she's taking care of them. But with that same beak that she's feeding them is the same beak that she pushes them out of the nest. And they don't think they're ready to go and to fly. But because she knows, just out of nature, it's time for you to go, she pushes them out. And they were saying that I'm sure the eaglet is thinking like, what are you doing? I'm not ready. I'm not ready. But they just keep flapping their wings, and they flap their wings, flap, 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 flap. And then eventually they start flying. They don't think they're ready, but the mom knows instinctively that it's time. And I think with these dead ends, when they come up, that's what's happening, is that God knows it's time. It's time for you to fly. And I have to put you in this space to force you, to put pressure on you to begin to flap those wings because you don't think you're ready and you won't pull the trigger. Or if you do, maybe you'll do it at a wrong time and it's too late. Like you should have been flying. And so he knows just when to bring you to the dead end, to say, boom, I'm putting you here. And I know how much pressure to put on you. And I know how far to push you out. I know I know when to push you out. And I know that if you keep flapping, you're going to fly. You just got to trust in that if you're flapping, you're going to get there. But if you stop flapping, you're going to fall flat on the ground. And I think that's what happens when you get to that paralyzing state, when you allow it to paralyze you, when it's life or emotions or whatever it is. I truly believe that is that's what's going to kill you in that space. So doing something, even if you don't know if it's the right thing to do, I don't think that there is a such thing. There may be such thing as wrong things to do. You definitely have to listen to God. But I think that if you continue to move forward in what he's given you, that's flapping. Keep going, keep pushing, even if you don't see the results. I have a nonprofit and we have been writing grants and writing grants and writing grants and writing grants. And do you know that we haven't received, there's only one that we were supposed to receive, but we didn't have things together on our end. It was slow, so we didn't get it. And then now, ever since then, we've been applying and applying and applying and applying and nothing. And I don't take it to heart. I'm just like, okay, cool. This is getting me practice. This is the nature of the game. This is business. I could take it to heart and be like, and be all frustrated, but no, that's not it. And one of the encouraging things, there was a grant that we didn't get. And I just had a phone call with the person, just a follow up, just to see, because I got to check in and see what's going on, And this woman, so kind and so sweet, she was like, everybody's fighting for the same amount of money. But she's like, your grant was really great. We really connected with it. There were 4 people who reviewed it, blah, blah, blah. And she gave me, the feedback that she gave was that there was some confusion, on 2 different things. And I thought they were incredibly clear, but they weren't. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Thank you for that information. Because this also, 9 times out of 10, if one person is confused on the information that we're giving, so many other people were. And so it wasn't as clear as I thought. So I decided, instead of saying like, oh, we didn't get it, I welcome this feedback. And I'm like, all right, now I can take this and now I can add these different things here. And now we're going to go jump off the diving board again and we're going to submit more grants. And we're going to keep flapping our wings. And eventually, I'm going to trust that we're going to get the wings right and we're going to be able to soar. The air is just going to come up. But my job, if I stop submitting grants, that's my way of flapping the wings. And one of the ways in order for us to get money, if I stop doing that, the nonprofit's never going to get off the ground the way that I'm seeing it. I have a vision, but I also have to work the vision. And so I hope these words help anyone, because I was in desperate need of hearing these words from someone that, even if you're at that dead end where it feels like so much pressure, you don't know what way to go. You want to sit down and it just feels like it's too much. Don't sit down. Even if you have to slow down to like a crawl, then just crawl. Like there were moments and days where I had that, where I was like, oh my God, I cannot, like, this is just so much. It feels so overwhelming and all of these things. I said, well, what's one thing I can do today? I may not be able to do this list of 20 things, but I can do one thing today to help me flap my wings to move me forward. And so as long as you do something that's 1% more every single day, you are still making progress. And that is what begins to help, add up to those different nuggets, add up to the whole level of success or significance that you are fighting for. And it's incredibly important to make sure you have this guy just filled with so many things, positive things that are really pulling you through. When you can't do it on your own, which we can't do too much of anything. Like, there's no way I can build a business by myself. I can only take it so far, and then you're always going to need other people. But making sure that you're filling that your headspace in that space with something really positive and uplifting, and that can pull you forward. And I think paying attention to what is happening to you in that space and really sitting in those uncomfortable spaces. I know we spoke about that last week. That's the only way you're going to get through them. They're going to come up again. And so if they're going to come up again, it's best you learn how to practice these uncomfortable places now than, just ignoring and just say, oh, let me just hurry up and get through it. Why? You know what I mean? You got to learn how to deal with this. And the more that you learn how to navigate these spaces, the faster you'll be able to get through these spaces and glean whatever it is that you need from the dead ends. Another thing that I'll say that helps, or that's helped me, I should say, and I just encourage you, listen, if it doesn't help, you got to keep trying something that does. Another thing that has helped me in this space is affirmations. I'm not even using affirmations from me. I'm using affirmations from other people. And hi, Nigel. And as I'm using these affirmations from other people, because I'm in at this space, I need more people to say, how do I say this? What I'm saying out of my own thing is something that's I'm like, I've said that before. And it's not even so much that for me. It's more so of I need to hear something from someone else and then test and see if I'm believing that, and then assume that as my affirmation. I don't know why that is what it is right now, but it is happening in that way. And what I found out in this space, I was talking to a friend of mine, and she was saying, because I was starting to beat myself, and I didn't even realize I was doing it, but she had to tell me that I was. She was telling me that I was beating myself up in this space. She's like, I need to stop beating up on my friend. And I'm like, am I really? And she said, yeah, you keep saying, what if you had done this? And what if you had done that? You are where you are supposed to be in this moment in life. Point blank. Like, you followed what you believed you were to follow. You took the steps that you believed you were to take. And regardless of whether you could have done more, could have done less, you were going to go through whatever you're going through right now. And so you don't beat yourself up saying that you aren't where you're supposed to be. You're here for a reason, so get what you need so you can get out. And it's not helpful. It's counter-conducive, if you will, to beat yourself up when you're the very vessel that's needed to get out of it. You're not helping. And she was saying that you need to believe in God and what he said, and you going, moving forward. And I was like, you know what? What's interesting is that I believe God. I don't believe me. And that was a very sobering moment. And I think in these spaces, you'll find yourself, you got to get, like, I'm always an advocate of getting really real. And I think that some people in these moments, you'll find yourself in that space of where it's like, it's not that I don't trust God. It's not that I don't believe what God has said is true, but it's that I don't believe me. I don't believe that I'll get up and I'll do the work. I don't believe that I believe myself to be consistent enough to get it done, because my past has shown me that that is not the case. And so because I know it's going to take my consistency to have this come to fruition, regardless of whether I believe in God enough or a great deal, it won't come to pass because I'm not doing my part. And that brought me to this, very sobering moment of, okay, we have some work to do on you. Because I believe God is going to give me every single thing that he said. I have no doubt on that. I don't doubt him. He's come through time and time again, too much enough for me to not believe him. But I haven't shown up for me. And I haven't shown up, not all the time, but a lot of the times. And it was enough for me to have seeds of doubt. So, yes, Lord, I believe, help my unbelief of me, for sure. And I have to go back to what my mentors have told me, which really did help me in the belief of myself, which was, when you're doing the work, don't focus on the big, focus on the small. You're taking bite-sized pieces. And as you continue to do that, your goal is not the big thing. That's going to come to fruition anyway. God said it, so it is. It's not your job to make it manifest. It's not. Your job is to stay in the race and do the small things. That's what helps the consistency, because then he's like, cool, now I can work with that, do what I need to do and have it come to fruition. So I had to go back to like, okay, well, what can I do? Okay, I can get up. I can create a schedule for myself, and there are steps and things that I can add into this schedule. And my job is to do this schedule every day. That is my goal. My goal is not the manifestation. My goal is this. Did I do this today? Did I show up for myself today? Do I believe enough? Not do I believe enough, but did I show up for me? Did I value me enough today to show up and move at least 1% forward for me today? And in that, every single day that I'm like, okay, you know what? And then there's so many things that I miss. I don't even focus on those. I just focus on, I showed up for me today. I did this. Okay, cool. Move myself 1% forward. And the more that you do that, you add confidence into yourself that, okay, I'm doing something. And I'm being more consistent with things. And so that adds to the belief in yourself that you can do something. And so what I'm noticing is that the more that I work out, at least 4 to 5 times a week, right? So I usually kind of go back to revert to that and say, okay, we got to be consistent with that, and as I'm consistent with that, and it's like, okay, you have these body goals, they're going to get there. I can't rush that. But the fact that I am each week, I'm saying, yep, I hit that 5-day mark. Cool. I'm excited. That literally is adding to, I'm like, yep, I can trust me now. It's basically building the trust with yourself. And it's now beginning to spill over into the business side of things. I have so many things going on. I don't know. And I don't know which way to go for most of the things. But what I've started to do is say, you know what? I'm going to reach out to the people that may know some things, maybe they don't, and let me pick their brains. And even though it's not necessarily tangibly getting me what I need right now or what I think I need right now, it's actually moving me forward in that it's moving. That's one thing that I didn't do yesterday. And now I have another piece of information to add to my arsenal. So I just keep doing that and keep doing that. And I'm listening to other audios. And I also today came up and I was like, you know what? I've done the whole thing where I've created the list of goals and said, okay, let me make sure I'm accomplishing all these things, right? And then there have been a lot of times in the past where I have deviated from that list and quit and said, I'm moving on to something new. And I went back to my list and I said, I'm not going to do that this time. I'm going to go through this. I'm going to sit with this. But what I found myself is in a space to where there's some things that I started embarking on that I don't like anymore. And it's not that, how do I even describe this? It's not that I don't even know how to describe it. Bottom line is that I don't like it anymore. I don't like how it's going. I think it could go better. But even when I think of it better and I think it growing and getting bigger, I'm like, that's not the avenue I want to go down. It's just something that I happen to do well. And so I'm walking in it. but I don't know if that's where I should be. So now I find myself in a space of, okay, is this really where I should be? Did that serve the season that I was in? Am I in a new season? And like I said, like, you're always sitting down and making sure you assess. I think that's incredibly important. So now I'm in this space of assessing a couple of things that I'm doing to see, like, okay, should I really continue with this? It definitely needs to change, and I am working on the change of that. But at the same time, I don't even know if it's something that should be continued. So I think that's incredibly important when you're coming to spaces like this, that you find yourself, that you do the assessment. I'm sorry, y'all. People are coming in here. I don't know if y'all are hearing this. It's kind of distracting me. But, sorry, I'm reading you are cursing yourself. I don't believe I'm cursing myself at all. I do believe that there's some things that I need to address with, like, in terms of the unbelief. I don't believe that's more of me cursing me. I think that's more of there's something else going on a deeper level, and I need to figure out what that is. And from what I have assessed so far, it's just my lack of consistency added to the unbelief of me. And I don't think that's a curse. I think that's just something that needs to be addressed. Well, why aren't you consistent? Where is that coming from? And where, basically getting to the root of all of that. And I think as that happens, then I'll begin to actually add action to that, to begin to work through that space of not being consistent, if you will. So I don't necessarily believe that I'm cursing myself. I just believe that there's something deeper that is, that really just needs to be worked out. And I think that's true of everybody that deals with consistency issues. It's just, you need to figure out what is really going on, and what is the root of you not being consistent? Whether it's you believe something that isn't true or whatever it is. But I do think that that's really key. And then you actually have to follow it up with action and begin to do something. And once you do it once in one area of your life, it does add to your confidence, and then it begins to build, because then you'll be consistent in other areas. See, like, oh, I see this work. I see the manifestation of this. So let me, add that into other areas of my life. If that makes sense. So, I don't remember where I was before. So I'm going to go on to the next thing that I believe that really does, that has been helpful for me in this space. I would say it's, giving myself grace. Giving myself grace, but then also being my own cheerleader, if that makes sense. So, watch what you speak over yourself. Walk in your authority. I do agree that that's true. But there's also, I don't necessarily think that I'm speaking anything over myself. I think I'm speaking the truth of what it is. Like, that is the fact that I had, I wasn't dealing with, that I had issues with consistency. It is a fact that I didn't believe myself, like, in me. And finding out why I didn't believe in me was more of that. So I don't think it's more of speaking that over me. I think it's just stating what it is, but then I don't let it live there. If that makes sense. Now it's like, okay, well, that's where you are. Now let's fix that. And let's speak what is true. But I think that's something that we do a lot, is that we don't address what is the actual fact and what is the actual truth of what's happening, because we don't want to speak something over ourselves. And so then, and that you don't address what's really going on. No, you really gotta say it. Like, this is what's happening. But this is what I'm going to do. This is where I am, but we can't sweep under the rug what the truth of something is, having faith, is not a reason for us to avoid something, is not a reason for us not to address something. And oftentimes we can get those things confused. I can have faith all day long in something and believe, like I believe in God and all of that. But the truth is that I have a part to play and I haven't been doing all of my part. And I need to address that. And that's a truth of it, if you will. So yes, giving myself grace and, I forgot what else I said, giving myself grace, but then also being my own cheerleader. I remember hearing T.D. Jakes say that. He was like, sometimes you got to encourage yourself. And I'm like, okay, I think I've done that sometimes or whatever. But then what I really realized is that, when there is no one else, I got to really be able to say, no, girl, you are doing some amazing things. You are great. Like, let's keep continuing. Let's go. Let's, and then find things, even audios. I have audio stuff that feed into that as well. But then giving myself the grace that I don't have to be, I'm not going to get it right every time. I'm not going to hit it on the mark, but I can still strive for it. And when I don't hit it, head on and don't, it doesn't manifest or it's not the perfect way that I wanted it to be. Give myself grace, but then let's go back to the drawing board. Did you give your all? Are you sure you're working in excellence? And if I can say, yeah, I did, but I have growing pains, I have I have a margin of error and I got to let myself have that. So that has been helpful, but also I know me that I will give myself, be too lax with myself at times. And that's when I have to say, okay, no, girl, get up, let's go, and I have to be very careful with that too, because sometimes guilt will set in and I will be like, well, it was my fault, this, that, and the third. And what I typically want to do is say, well, let me go back and fix it. But my way of going back and fixing it is going back to what I was called out of, because I think that is the fixing and it's not. So that's something that's been real interesting to me, and I'm learning to I'm learning new spaces of myself in this whole space. You know what I mean? And I think that's something that will happen with everyone when you decide to actually look at yourself and see, like, okay, yeah, I'm dealing with anxiety. Yeah, I'm dealing with stress, or I'm dealing with this paralyzing fear. Let me sit in that and really look at it and see. And you're going to find new versions of yourself and new corners of yourself that you didn't even know existed, and welcoming them in. But then also, it's kind of like developing a new relationship with that side of you, and figuring it out. That's kind of what it is, I am learning a new me, this me that sits here. I would not have been if the old me, maybe 10, 15 years ago, would not be friends with this me that's here right now. And that's an interesting realization for me. Because I'm realizing how uncompassionate I was with so many people that are similar to the me now, and the judgment and the lenses that I chose to look through then. And at the same time, this me being like, you were so, not glorifying the old me that was like very and unsympathetic, and just with this much more harder, if you will, because that person had a lot of things manifest, and I'm divorcing the idea or separating the idea that my security is in the manifestation of things, that my security is in God. So, And it's opposite of what I ever knew, who I ever was, what I was taught and told. And so it's just something that's very, very different for me. So interesting, learning to give myself grace, the old me and the new me, and love both of them. And I'm not going to sit up here and say that it's easy. It's not. But I think, all dead ends at the end of the day lead you to the dead end of you. And it's up to you to look at, but in this space of, not wanting to be paralyzed, but you feel like you are. Love is really the only thing that really helps you get through. And love looks very different for different people. Love for me was, or is, listening to audios. It's someone being kind enough to say, you know what, you don't have to have it all together, and I'm not going to ask you or question you about it, but I know that you're working through something right now, and so they're just there as a friend. Love is support, in ways, sometimes it's monetary, sometimes it's just an ear, sometimes it's a laugh, sometimes it's just sitting down next to you on the couch just saying, how was your day? Sometimes it's sometimes it's a phone call or a text, so it's and then sometimes it's the work, even though it doesn't feel good, it's the work. And I find that I think in this space of this dead end, and in the paralyzing part, it's really important for you to open yourself up and allow love to come in and move you forward. Forward movement, I say, is the best thing in that space, but addressing it too. And that's pretty much what I got for today. It really wasn't going to be long today, but or at least that's what I'm thinking. If you have anything else to add or any questions, definitely go ahead and type them in. But this dead end of inconsistency and paralyzing weight, whether it be fear or not, you're not alone in it, but it's important and it's time to face it. And like I said, to sum it all up, the ways to face it are to literally move through it. You want to sit down, but you got to do the opposite of that. Unless God is instructing you otherwise, it's the opposite of that. You got to keep flapping and flapping and flapping your wings because you just got pushed out of the nest. And it doesn't feel comfortable. It doesn't feel natural. It doesn't feel normal. None of it. But you will never know the strength of your wings if you do not begin to use them. And that's something that I'm learning now. I didn't realize there was a lot more strength in me than I ever thought there was. And the more that I'm flapping, the more I'm seeing like, okay, girl, you got this. Okay, this is different. We don't know what we're doing here. This is the land of unknown. It's okay. But I'm going to continue to flap. And eventually I'm going to soar, and I trust God to make it work, so I hope that is encouraging to someone, and that you're not alone in those spaces, but just keep moving. Do one more phone call, type up, if you're supposed to be writing a book, write one. If you can't even write one page a day, you can at least type one word on the paper a day, type a sentence. If you're supposed to be, building a business, at least look up something, get something on paper. If you're in the research phase and you find yourself going around and with that, okay, commit something to paper, put out something, you know what I mean? Do something different. Do something that is different than what you have been doing. And I'm telling you, it begins to open doors and unlock different things that you didn't think were there. And it gives you air. It literally gives you breath to begin to breathe for you to continue to move forward and move through this particular space. So just keep moving, keep flapping those arms, and do whatever you need to do to counteract the paralyzing, the force that you may feel, or the energy that you may feel that wants to paralyze you and keep you in the bed or keep you not doing anything or whatever. You have to fight against that. It's literally resistance. And it has one job and one job only, and that's to stop you from moving forward. It doesn't care who you are or, what color you are, what your gender is, anything like that. So our job is to use it to our advantage, because clearly you're on the right path. Resistance doesn't come if you're not doing anything. If you're not embarking on making something greater or building on something, resistance never comes. There's a reason why you just want to chill and do nothing, because you're not doing anything. It's like, cool, I don't need to bother you. But when you are, it's like, ooh, let me apply pressure. So that lets you know clearly you're doing something right. You're going in the right direction, but you gotta use it to your advantage and say, okay, well, you're here. Let's continue to work this thing out. And you keep going and find yourself. Your association really does matter. Find yourself around people. Put yourself around people. And maybe it is, you got to get in different circles. Put yourself around people who are where you want to be. Listen to them. In those spaces, you don't even have to do anything. You just sit and listen. The audios that I'm listening to people who are where I want to be, who have been through a lot. And I'm listening. I'm just listening. And I'm just taking it in. And I'm going to keep listening. I got 10 minutes a day. I got 15 minutes a day, 20 minutes a day. While I'm washing my face, getting ready, whatever. I can listen to these. You can too. There's no such thing as you don't have that time. And I'm guarantee you, if you listen to at least one type of audio like that a day, it's literally going to transform you. So I just encourage you to continue to do that. And then, for those that reading the word really does help, and having a relationship with God. I'm in a different space. Like I absolutely have a relationship with God. But now I'm reading the word, but I'm feeling myself more so experiencing him and finding him in different spaces. Saying, okay, I hear what you're saying through this person. I hear what you're saying through this person. Okay. And he's giving me exactly what I need right now. So that may happen as well, but reading your word is also is really, really great, because you get a lot of answers there too. So yeah, that's what I got, dead ends, we're here together. We're doing it together. And if you're experiencing this type of dead end, you know that you're not alone. I'm with you. Listen, we can communicate, reach out, DM me if you need to, all that. But yeah, you'll get through it. You really will. And it's on the other side. I can't say that I'm on the other side of where I want to see, but I'm on the other side of the initial pressure, if you will. And what I can say is that I have a confidence about myself that I didn't quit. And I tell you, every day I wanted to quit. Every day I wanted to quit. And I said, this ain't for me. I don't know what's going on. I'm gonna. But then every time I went to go quit back to what I knew, I was like, what's the purpose? I've been here before. I don't want to do this again. I go back to what? How crazy is that I asked and prayed to be delivered out of something, and I delivered out of it. And then because it doesn't look like what I thought, or it's harder than what I thought, I want to go back to it. I never really understood the Israelites and being brought out of Egypt. I mean, I did, but I always looked at them like, oh my God, God brought you out. Like, what is your problem? Why would you? I get it. When you see nothing in front of you, or what's in front of you doesn't look anything like what you were promised, It doesn't look anything like you vision, but you know the vision is there. And all you see is a lot of work. And you don't see an end. You don't see any pressure letting up on any of the work that has to be done. And you're tired and you're scared and you're in an unknown place. You don't know what way to go. You absolutely have the thoughts of, it would just be easier if I could go back. Let me just go back. At least I know that. I know how I can work that. I know I can flip that. And maybe if I do this, then I can do something different. But it's not true. You don't like it while you were there. You've done what you needed to do there. You served your time there. It's time for you to move on to something different. And even though it is the unknown and it looks all like desert, and you are charged with building a city, build the city. It's on you. It's better to build the city than it is to go back. Because when you go back, you'll always be wondering, what if? What if I just would have stuck with it? What if I just would have made this phone call? What if I just would have pressed through and persevered? What if I just would have, reached out to this person? I didn't do everything that I thought I could do, and what if I would have built the city? Where would I be? You don't want to live a life of what if. You only get one. And so as someone who definitely wanted to give up and did not, and I would be sitting here lying to you today if I didn't tell you I still don't have those thoughts of, it might be easier. They don't come as frequent, but it's not better. I know it's not. I got what I asked for. I did not anticipate that it would be at this space. I did not anticipate that I would ever be here. And definitely not for as long as I've been here. But I would never have, I don't think I would have addressed what I'm addressing now inside of me had I not continued to say yes. It would still be a problem. So, and I won't reach the heights that I've always dreamed of reaching in me if I don't do this. So, if that's encouraging, I pray it's encouraging to someone who, if you wanted to give up or you're thinking about giving up, don't. There's still a fight in you for a reason. Just keep going. Just keep swimming. Literally one foot in front of the other. That's all you got to do. Everything else will come as it needs to. And as you continue to put that one foot in front of the other, that confidence that you need, that belief in yourself, you're building the roots and the trust, the roots that you need for the tree of trust for yourself. You're building those and you're growing those deeper and deeper and deeper. And it's needed, So I pray that you don't give up. I pray that you continue to fight. And I pray that you finish it. You see it to the end of the race that you are running, because it's worth it. The lives that will be transformed and changed because you said yes and decided to finish it and push through, even when you're at the space where you're like, I can't, you're at burnout, or your muscles are literally burning out. You got to trust that God's going to bring somebody in to carry that weight for you. That's what the Holy Spirit does. And I'm telling you, it happens. So I love y'all. And I'm so incredibly grateful for every single one of you that watch this and tune in. Like this, follow us, share it with someone if you know they need this. And we're going to be back next week. I believe we're still going to talk about dead ends, because I think there's specific dead ends that we can address and maybe even go deeper in, even with this one, because I'm still learning it. I don't have all the depths that that I know that I'm going to get. But as I get them, I definitely will share. And I think this is something that, it was just a revelation to me today. And I just wanted to share it with you guys. And hopefully it's settling in, if you are dealing with unbelief, of yourself, you're in yourself. You're not the only one. Hopefully you understand that from me. And listen, just do something. Just keep doing something, be consistent with it, and you'll begin to believe in yourself. And you ask God, like Nigel said, help my unbelief of me. You know, I believe you, but help my unbelief of me. So I love y'all. I'm trying to see if the Holy Spirit wants to say anything else. He loves y'all so very much. I know that there may be somebody out there who just really isn't feeling loved. It doesn't feel like God is there, but I'm telling you, he literally said, I love you. I love you. And I pray that you understand that and know that and feel that through this. And I pray you guys have wonderful weekends. Be safe, be careful, and I pray that you have productive weeks and a productive rest of the year. There's a lot to still be made and a lot of things to still be done in this year. As he's saying this, he's saying it to me. Let's get to work, but we're going to do it one day at a time. That's all we can focus on. We're not worried about December 31st. We are worried about today, August 18th. There are still hours left in this day, so let's get to it. You can still be productive, you know, and if not, listen, draw a line in the sand today. Tomorrow is a whole nother day. Let's get it, you know, one thing at a time. And I love y'all. I will see you guys back here next week, and have a wonderful weekend. Bye, y'all.